So now you're trying to decide which prop firm you're going to use. There's lots of options out there, so I'm going to break down a couple of them today that should help you make that decision just a little easier. There are some that are larger, they cost a little more to get into, but they offer things like daily payouts and withdrawals and things like that, something that you might actually want to look at further down the road as you get better at trading futures. The two top beginner models that we use are typically either Apex Trader Funding or Top Step Trading. There's a couple of differences between the two that may make one a better option than the other for you. So whether you're just now looking at actually trading futures or you want to just go ahead and lock in an evaluation that covers your CME up-to-date quotes, let's get into what the differences are. The first one that we typically recommend is going to be Apex. And the reason why we typically do that is because of how easy and limit-free the evaluation stage is. It's also probably one of the cheaper ones you're going to find most of the time. You can find it 50% off almost all of the time, which gives you about an $85 buy-in, right? So if you can find a code or coupon though, most of the time you can get it like 70, 80, 90% off. And if that's the case, 80% off of a 50K account is probably going to be about $33.40 plus tax. So if you're in Georgia like me, it's like $36 and some change and you're good to go. The other option is going to be Top Step, of course. Top Step is typically always $50. On rare occasions, very rare occasions, we see that go on sale for a little less expensive or a lot less expensive depending on kind of what they're running. But it's usually a good steady $50 for the evaluation, $50 for the resets. And Apex kind of fluctuates a little bit, but if you don't see Apex on sale at the moment you're looking, you can usually just wait a few days or maybe even a week, and they'll probably put something back on. So the other cool thing about Apex is, like I said, fewer restraints up front, which means if you fat finger a trade and you accidentally pass an account in one day, they're going to be like, cool, that's awesome. So if it takes you one day, or if it takes you 15 days, or if it takes you 30 days or 60 days, Apex is just kind of however long it takes you, just pass the evaluation. Top Step, on the other hand, is going to be a little more strict up front, which means that you have to be a little more reasonable with what you're doing. You can't just accidentally fat finger and pass an evaluation or what they call a combine in Top Step. In Top Step, you can only use, or you can only earn 50% of your total goal value in one day, which means that you have to at least trade 2 days at minimum inside of their combine or their version of the evaluation. So if you have a $3,000 goal for the $50,000 account, you have $1,500 in one day and $1,500 in the next day, and you must do that. Now you can take longer than 2 days, and that's fine. So don't think that you have to get $1,500 exactly. You just can't get more than that. So you are going to be forced to trade at minimum 2 days. And if Apex doesn't have their sale going on, which again they usually do, they may ask you to trade for 7 days. But again, just wait for the sale to go on, and it's usually just 1 day passes if you're good at things like that and you can get into it. Now, if you're going to take 30 days to pass it, it's probably not going to matter which one you get into. Here's where the real differences start. When you get into the paid accounts, there's going to be some things that you're going to want to pay attention to. And this is probably going to be more a deciding factor as to which one you're going to get, because this is going to be based off of how you feel like you're going to trade later once you're actually in your PA accounts. Apex is going to make you trade at minimum 8 days. That doesn't mean you have to sit in front of your computer and log in. It means you have to make a trade at least 8 days. They don't have to be consecutive. They can be spread out over the whole month if you want. But until you finish those 8 trading days, or at least make 8 trades on 8 separate days, then you will not be eligible for a payout. Of those 8 days, you have to have 5 of those days over $100. Okay, so if you're doing the math and you're trying to think, okay, well, payouts, both of them have a minimum $500 payout. 5 days over $100 is probably not going to be enough to make a payout, especially if you're just starting, maybe later on down the road, right? But if you've got a cushion set up in there later down the road, and as long as you get your 5 days over $100 within 8 trading days, within those 8 trading days, you can pull out money from your account. On the flip side, Top Step requires that you only need 5 green days. So what does that mean? A green day in Top Step is considered any day that's earned over $200. So if it takes you 15 trading days to get 5 days over $200, that's what it takes you. But if you're good at it and you can be consistent with it, you could theoretically take a payout every single week in Top Step as long as it's not a holiday, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, $200 days, request the payout at the end of the week, get paid over the weekend. So it sounds really good. And if you can manage that, you can technically get paid out more often than you can in Apex. Again, if you are a long-term, just trying to get those small gains in kind of trader, it probably won't matter. Here's where the big differences start. Okay, in Top Step, you can only tie up to 5 PA accounts at once, paid accounts, which means that if you tie all 5 together and you're trading in them, you can theoretically pull out small amounts from each one and still get a bigger payout because you're copy trading that first paid account to the other 4 accounts. As of now, Top Step will make you go to a live account after you've pulled out $5,000. So if you get $5,000 in payouts, doesn't matter how many accounts you're pulling that off of, collectively $5,000, they roll you into what they call a live account where you're actually trading in like an account that you run and manage by yourself. They're going to take all the money from your paid accounts, roll it into one account, so you're not starting over from scratch again. It's just they don't have their finger necessarily on the pause button in case something bad goes on. You've kind of gotten past that probationary period. With Apex, on the other hand, you can have up to 20 paid accounts and there is no forced into live. So if you want to trade big and you think that that's what you want to do and you want to size up and just make one trade in one account and that be what you trade every single day, then you can make a lot of money in Top Step in that one account, in that live account, and just be happy with it. If you want to do the $100 to $150 or $200 a day trade in a single account, copy it to 19 other accounts, you could, in theory, do $100 trades every single day and make about $1,000 to $1,500 every single day across all 20 accounts. Take out small incremental payouts across all 20 accounts and have that be the way that you trade. So again, it's all in how you feel like you will trade later down the road that I feel like will make a bigger difference in which account you want to try. It's not really that much more expensive for a Top Step account than it is an Apex account. And in the end, they kind of flesh out one way or another. But Top Step does have a fewer rules on the back end. And what I mean by that is Top Step, while you're in your PA accounts, your first 5 or 6 payouts, you're in your probationary period. And they will only allow you to take out a certain percentage of your max earnings over that time period. It's not as cut off as like the 50K account for Apex, where you can only pull out $2,000 every pay period. But it is a percentage of what you totally earn, not the 100%, unless you plan on closing the account out. In Apex, while you're in that probationary period and in your PA accounts, there are 2 30% rules that you absolutely need to know about. The first 30% rule is this. If you are trading in your 8 trading days and you have like 5 really just crummy trading days in the market, 2 okay days, and 1 where you just absolutely killed it, and you try to pull out a payment at the end of that, and the 1 really, really good day is more than 30% of that payment you're trying to get, you will be denied that payment. Which means, let's just use $10,000 as a good round number. If you try to pull $10,000 out at the end of your 8-day trading period, and one of those days is bigger than $3,000, that means that you have exceeded that 30% rule. You cannot pull out $10,000. You have to pull out more than that because they do not want that one trading day being bigger than 30% of your total earnings for that 8-day period. Simply put, they don't want you to get lucky and pull out a bunch of money. They want you to trade consistently. It helps them protect their company, helps them stay in business, and helps you keep earning money. The other 30% rule is this, and this is probably the most misunderstood rule because they came out with it and their communication through however they do it just wasn't very clear. What they said was they only want you to risk 30% of your profits that you started with at the beginning of the day. That means if you started with $10,000, you could risk up to $3,000. And then other people went, well, hey, I just started my PA accounts. I don't even have any profits. How much do I know to risk? And the answer to that is whatever's left in your drawdown at the beginning of that day. That is what they consider the profits. So if you start fresh with a $50K account and you have $2,500 drawdown, that means you can risk up to $750. Well, Philip, that means that if I lose $750 in the day, they're going to deduct my payout? No. An even bigger misconception that was kind of going on was I could only risk that 30%. What they meant was you can only risk 30% total of your profit in one single trade, which means you can take as many trades as you want to that day. But if you started with $2,500 in drawdown, they don't want you to risk more than $750 in one single trade during that day. And let me tell you, if you've only got a $50K account and you've got $2,500 drawdown and you have a $750 stop loss on one trade, you're probably oversizing just a little bit. I really love to see that $100 to $500 stop loss just to kind of give you that fair chance in the market. But if you're oversizing, you're going to blow the account anyway. And no one wants to blow an account after you just spent all that time passing the eval and then all that money opening up your paid account, right? So those are the two 30% rules you need to know about Apex. Those are the big differences in Apex and Top Step. I hope that helps you make your decision on who you want to go with, or at least try to begin with. And who knows, maybe you get to the end of it and go, you know what, I wish I tried the other one. And lo and behold, it's probably going to be there. So don't fret too much about it, but maybe this gives you a step in the right direction as to kind of maybe where you want to start. I'll see you in the live trades.